Sorry, my throat is not that great. Thank you. We'll start with the prayer. Om Agyanatimirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamsha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitamsha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarubhyasya Kripa Sindhubhya eva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashyatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare Mukum Karoti Vachalam Pangam Langayate Girim Yat Kripatamaham Bande Shri Gurun Dinatarinam Paramananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram. Wonderful. We are discussing on the section of spontaneous devotional service. This is the second chapter in that continuation. It's actually 16. 15th is when we started spontaneous devotional service. Spontaneous means like a boy is attracted to a girl and the girl is attracted to a boy, and then they want to be in each other's association. They want to go to any extent, actually go through any difficulty. But when we come to this, when we bring the same idea on the platform of devotional service, we want to get there actually. Right now we are Vaidi Bhakti. Today is Ekadashi. We do Ekadashi out of force. Arey, aaj Ekadashi, I have to again do it. I have to fast. At least I do it. That it's difficult for me to actually do fast. But somehow, yeah, ek aur Ekadashi khatam ho gaya. That's how I feel. But spontaneous devotional service is not like that. So Srila Rupa Goswami says that the learned acharyas recommend that we follow the regulative principles even after the development of spontaneous love for Krishna. Like Srila Prabhupada, he's a pure devotee. He's a pure devotee, but in spite of he at the spontaneous spontaneous platform, he would still showcase how much Prabhupada used to sleep actually for a couple of hours in the night. He would transcribe books, chant Krishna's name, travel all around the world to give Krishna to others. So that's the beauty of acharyas, that they want to show it as with their example. According to regulative principle, there are 9 department activities as described above, and one should specifically engage himself in the type of devotional service for which he has natural aptitude. For example, one person may have a particular interest in hearing, another may have a particular interest in chanting, and another may have a particular interest in serving in the temple. So these or any of these 6 different type of devotional service: remembering, serving, praying, engaging in some kind of particular service, being in friendly relationship, or offering everything in one's possession, should be executed in full earnestness. So not necessary one has to have interest in all Navveda Bhakti. One may be interested in one or more. So one should know what is the area, or what is that out of Navveda Bhakti, which limb of bhakti attracts me the most. Like for an example, for me, hearing is very important. It helps me a lot, and I like to hear more. So one may develop, like for some people like to chant whenever they are free, they just chant because they like that limb of devotional service. So in this way, everyone should act according to his particular taste. Now, there are different rasas, there are different relationship one may have in spiritual world with Krishna. So one may be a tree, one may be a plant, one may be a flower, which is called as Shantiras. Above that is Dasyaras in the servitude manner. And then above servitude is Sakha, which is being a friend of Krishna. Above Sakha is Vatsalya as a parent. And the topmost is conjugal love, where one actually see Krishna as a lover. Devotional service following in the footsteps of gopis of Vrindavan or queens at Dwarka is called devotional service in conjugal love because they had that ultimate perfection to see Krishna as the lover. This devotional service in conjugal love can be divided into two categories. One is indirect conjugal love and other is direct. In both of these categories, one has to follow a particular gopi who is engaged in such service in Golok Vrindavan. To be directly attached to Supreme Personality of Godhead in conjugal love is technically called Keli. This Keli performance means to directly join with Supreme Personality of Godhead. There are other devotees who do not wish direct contact with Supreme Person, but to relish the conjugal love affairs of the Lord with the gopis. Such devotees enjoy simply by hearing the activities of Lord with the gopis. So we are not at that platform actually, because like I said, this whole material world is filled with maithuna agara, which means attraction between opposite sex. So that's why we don't openly discuss about Krishna and gopis rasa leela pastimes, because then the problem is that the lust will even more increase, and we will try to put the same amount of lust or same mind of lust, put it on Krishna, which is very filthy actually. That's why you see Srimad Bhagavatam is divided into 12 cantos. And where are the Rasa Leela? Rasa Panchadaya is in 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. And we don't directly go to 10th canto. In fact, a lot of devotees actually don't even read 10th canto, especially that section. Because one has to be completely pure to actually discuss or read about those pastimes. Otherwise, one thinks about, oh, how can I, same thought process saying that, oh, Krishna is being attracted to women like we get attracted to women, or other vice versa. So that's why it is important that such discussions, we don't discuss it publicly. Such devotees enjoy simply by hearing. This development of conjugal love can be possible only with those who are already engaged in the following regulative principles of devotional service, especially in worship of Radha and Krishna in the temple. So it's a very high level one has to come on, where we one worship Radha Krishna and then we see them as the beautiful lovers, and going above the platform of lust, actually coming to the platform of love. Such devotees gradually develop a spontaneous love for the deity. And by hearing of Lord's exchange of loving affairs with gopis, they gradually become attracted to these pastimes. After this spontaneous attraction become highly developed, the devotee is placed in either of the above mentioned categories, which means one become a gopi or servant of the gopis. This development of conjugal love for Krishna is not manifest in women only. The material body has nothing to do with spiritual loving affairs, because we can't understand that a woman may develop an attitude for becoming a friend of Krishna, and similarly a man may develop the feature of becoming a gopi in Vrindavan. How a devotee in the form of a man can desire to become a gopi is stated in Padma Purana as follows. In days gone by, there were many sages in Dandakaranya. Very beautiful, actually. Dandakaranya, which is where Lord Ram went, actually. So, Dandakaranya is the name of the forest where Lord Ramchandra lived after being banished by his father for 14 years. At that time, there were many advanced sages who were captivated by the beauty of Lord Ramachandra and who desired to become women in order to embrace the Lord. Later on, these sages appeared in Gokula Vrindavan when Krishna advented himself there, and they were born as gopis. or girlfriends of Krishna. In this way, they attain the perfection of spiritual life. So, one who, not necessary as a man, one cannot think, appreciate being Krishna, being girlfriend of Krishna, and then one becomes gopi like Dandakaranya forest sages. So one may sometimes when they ask, oh, you know what, how can Krishna marry so many this, or how can Krishna have so many girlfriends? Because they desired in Lord Ram's pastime, and Lord Ram was one Patni Vrata. So he promised them that when I appeared as Krishna, then you can actually have that rasa with me. In this way, they attain the perfection of spiritual life. The story of sage of Dandakaranya can be explained as follows. When Lord Ramchandra was residing in Dandakaranya, the sages who were engaged in devotional service, they became attracted by his beauty and immediately thought of gopis in Vrindavan, who enjoyed conjugal love affection with Krishna. In this instance, it is clear that of sages of Dandakaranya desired conjugal love in the manner of gopis, and although they were all aware of the Supreme Lord as both Krishna and Lord Ramachandra, they knew that although Ramachandra was an ideal king and could not accept more than one wife, Lord Krishna, being the full-fledged personality of Godhead, could fulfill the desire of all of them in Vrindavan. The sages also concluded that the form of Lord Krishna is more attractive than that of Lord Ramachandra, and so they prayed to become gopis in their future lives to be associated with Krishna. So that's how they actually became gopis. The Lord Ramchandra remained silent, and his silence shows that he accepted the prayers of the sages. Thus, they were blessed by Lord Ramchandra to have the association with Lord Krishna in the future lives. As a result of this benediction, they all took birth as women in the womb of gopis at Gokul. And as they had desired in their previous life, they enjoyed the company of Lord Krishna, who was present at the time of Gokul Vrindavan. The perfection of their human form of life was thus achieved by their generating transcendental sentiment to share conjugal love with Lord Krishna. Conjugal love is divided into two classifications, namely conjugal love as a husband and wife, and conjugal love as a lover and beloved. One who develops conjugal love for Krishna as a wife is promoted to Dwarka, whereas the devotee becomes the queen of the Lord. One who develops conjugal love for Krishna as a lover is promoted to Golok Vrindavan, to associate with the gopis and enjoying loving affairs with Krishna there. We should note carefully that, however, that this conjugal love for Krishna, either as the gopi or the queen, is not limited only to women. Even men can develop such sentiment as was the evidence by the sages of Dandakarana. In fact, Lord Shiva actually took the form of Gopi. Lord Shiva wanted to enter into Rasalila, but he can't enter because he was in the manly body. So he took a bath in the kund and he became Gopi. Same way Narada Muni became Naradiya Gopi. He took the bath and took a form of a female, which is very beautifully mentioned. If someone simply desire conjugal love but does not follow in the footsteps of gopis, he is promoted to the association with the Lord at Dwarka. So there are two different divisions even in spiritual world. Not that Dwarka is only here, Dwarka is there in spiritual world also. So one who develop the desire to be the wife of Krishna, they actually get into the Dwarka pastime. If in Mahakurma Puran it is stated, great sages who are the sons of fire gods rigidly follow the regulative principle in their desire to have conjugal love for Krishna. As such, in their next life, they were able to associate with the Lord, the origin of all creation, who is known as Vasudeva or Krishna, and all of them got him as their husband. So they actually very beautiful. The great sage who were the sons of fire god, they actually became the wives of Krishna in Dwarka. Similar way, the parenthood or friendship. Devotees who are attracted to Krishna as a parent or a friend should follow in the footsteps of Nanda Maharaj or Subal, respectively. Nanda Maharaj is the foster father of Krishna, and out of all of their friends of Krishna, Subal is the most intimate in Vrajabhumi. In the development of becoming either the father or a friend of the Lord, there are two varieties. One method is that one may try to become the father of the Lord directly, and others is that one may follow Nanda Maharaj and cherish the ideal of being Krishna's father. Out of these two, the attempt to directly become the father of Krishna is not recommended. Such a development can become polluted with Mayavad philosophy. The Mayavadis or monists think that they themselves are Krishna, and If one thinks that one himself has become Nanda Maharaj, then his parental love will become contaminated with Mayavad philosophy because Krishna's parents are fixed. But you can still have parental love, like an uncle or any of those relationships. The Mayavad philosophical way of thinking is offensive, and no offender can enter into the kingdom of God to associate with Krishna. In the Skanda Purana, there is a story of an old man residing in Hastinapur, capital of kingdom of Pandus, who desired Krishna as his beloved son. This old man was instructed by Narada to follow in the footsteps of Nanda Maharaj, and thus he achieved success. There is a statement in Narayana Vyutstava prayers that persons who are always engaged in thinking of Lord as their husband, friend, as their husband, friend, father, or well wisher are always worshipable by everyone. This spontaneous love for Krishna can be developed only by the special mercy of Krishna or his pure devotees. We cannot actually attain artificially, or we cannot attain spontaneous devotional service by our own endeavor. Vaidhi Bhakti we can try, but to attain spontaneous devotional service, one has to receive the mercy of Guru, Vaishnava, or Krishna. This process of devotional service sometimes called as Pushti Marg. Pushti means nourishing and Marga means path. Such development of sentiment nourishes devotional service to the highest standard. Thus, it is the called the path of nourishment or Pushti Marg. The Vallabha Sampradaya, which belongs to the Vishnu Swami sect of Vaishnava religion, worship Krishna in Pushti Marg. So, what they become? They become the parent or friend of Krishna. Generally, devotees in Gujarat worship Bal Krishna under this heading of Pushti Marg. So that is another. I was just being asked by my daughter. She was asking who takes the parent form or friend form of Krishna. I said I don't know, and now I got the answer here. That Pushti Marg devotees, Vallabha Sampradaya, who follow. Any questions or comments before we move to chapter 17?
No, Prabhu.
Okay, all good here. Let's read chapter 17, ecstatic love. By the process of executing regulated devotional service, which means chanting fixed number of rounds, following four regulative principles, following Ekadashi, following festivals, one is actually elevated to the transcendental stage beyond the material modes of nature. So right now our body or our consciousness is filled with rajoguna and tamoguna, maybe little bit sattva guna. But slowly, when we sincerely practice regulated devotional service, doing things on time, attending Bangla Arti, waking up early in the morning, then slowly, the Rajogun and Tamogun fades down, and one comes to the platform of one comes to the platform of goodness. I was just I don't know how many of you attended that class of Rajabari Prabhu. So I was driving him. He is very highly in mode of goodness, and I was not able to withstand with him. I was just thinking that I may, the mind is always thinking, right? So I was thinking maybe I'll contaminate his consciousness, because I see him in pure sattva actually. So I wasn't able to withstand, I wasn't able to stand in front of him, because I'm rajoguna and tamoguna. So people who are in sattva guna, very, when you see them, you get bewildered, how you get fearful, not in a negative way but in a positive way. Are they are in a very high platform. At the time one's heart becomes illuminated like the sun. The sun is far above the planetary system, and there is no possibility of being it covered by any kind of cloud. Similarly, when the devotee is purified like sun, from his pure heart there is a diffusion of ecstatic love which is more glorious than the sunshine, because they live at that platform. Like Srila Prabhupada one time was in deep meditation. One devotee asked Srila Prabhupada, "What are you thinking about?" Srila Prabhupada said, I'm trying to see what did Mother Yashoda cooked for Krishna today." So they are living in eternal spiritual world actually, even while living in this material body. Only at that time is the attachment to Krishna is perfect. Our attachment is not there at that level. Spontaneously, the devotee becomes eager to serve the Lord in ecstatic love. At this stage, the devotee is on the platform of Uttam Adhikari. So there are three: Kanishta Adhikari, Madhyam Adhikari, and Uttam Adhikari. Kanishta is the lowest, where we all are belong to, where we believe in Krishna, but we don't believe in devotees. When one comes to Madhyam Adhikari platform, one sees Krishna and one sees Krishna in in devotee's heart also. But in Uttam Adhikari, one sees Krishna everywhere, even in animals. Such a devotee has no agitation from material affection and is interested only in the service of Radha and Krishna. To clarify, in the previous chapter, the symptoms of devotional service were explained along with the instruction as to how we may execute devotional service with our present senses and gradually rise to the platform of ecstasy in devotional service. And two kinds of devotional service, namely devotional service through regulative principles, which we are trying to practice, and through spontaneous love, were discussed. Within the stage of regulative principles of devotional service, there are two divisions, namely executive and effective. Very important. This effective portion of devotional service is called bhava, which means you do various activity in devotional service with the with the with the affection. For an example, chanting the name of Krishna with affection or cooking for Krishna with affection. Not that अरे भगवान को भोग लगाना है, चलो बनाएंगे अभी जो भी है, and we want to eat something and we make it just because, and we offer it to Krishna just because we want to have it. When you come to the platform of bhava, I want to cook this for Krishna. This is special day today. What can I do for Krishna? So that is also a stage which is there at regulative principles, which means doing an duty. Slowly, slowly you come to that platform as well. In this connection, there is a statement in Tantras that ecstasy is the first symptom of pure love of personality of Godhead. In that stage, one is sometimes found shedding tears or shivering. One is not able to control the emotions thinking about Krishna or hearing about Krishna, and then tears flow from the eyes. Not always are these symptoms manifest, but occasionally. When King Ambarish was put into the difficulty by Durvas, he began to think of the lotus feet of Lord. We actually, in Sunday Feast, Prabhuji was speaking about this verse. And thus there were some changes in his body and tears were falling from his eyes. These symptoms are activities of ecstasy. They are visible in the shivering of the body and shedding of tears. After the outward appearance of these ecstatic symptoms, they stay within the mind, and continuation of ecstasy is called as samadhi. That, like Raghunath Das Goswami and some of the associates of Lord Chaitanya, they would go in samadhi actually. They will enter into the pastime of Krishna which are happening in spiritual world. Though where they are in Bhauma Vrindavan. But they go into that highest ecstasy, they will enter into spiritual world and enter into the pastime of Krishna. There is very beautiful pastime is there of Shamananda Pandit. His name was Dukhi Krishna. So his guru gave him the seva that you broom in Vrindavan, Seva Kunj. There is in Vrindavan, there is a beautiful place called as Seva Kunj. So he would keep the Seva Kunj clean, just broom. One day he saw an anklet. The moment he touched that anklet, he went into ecstasy. The tears started flowing from his eyes. So he realized these are not ordinary anklets. So Srimati Radharani realized that one of the anklet is missing. So she asked Lalita Sakhi that you find it out. Lalita Sakhi could see from spiritual world that this devotee, this person has the anklet. So she disguised herself and came in front of the Shaman and Dukhi Krishna. And she said, I'm looking for the anklet. Did you find it? He said, yes. But um, he said, yeah. But so she said, give it to me. She was disguised as a man. She said, no, I want to give it to the person who's this anklet belong to. So Lalita Sakhi immediately took disguised and then took bring Dukhi Krishna in front of Srimati Radharani. And when he saw Srimati Radharani, he went into ecstasy. And Srimati Radharani actually blessed him. So she actually applied the anklet on his head and it created a mark on his head. And then she said, now you go back. He said, no, I don't want to go back to material world. I just want to be here and I want to take your darshan. She said, not now, the right time will come. But right now I will give you initiation and your name will become Shamanand Pandit. And he actually came down and he still had those marks actually. So these devotees actually can go into the stage of samadhi. So this stage of appreciation becomes the cause of future exchange of love affairs with Krishna. Elevation to this stage of ecstasy can be possible in two ways. One way is by constant association with pure devotees. So when you come in association of devotees who are completely pure, you can develop that stage. The other way is by special mercy of Krishna or by mercy of pure devotees of Krishna. Elevation to ecstatic stage of life is generally attainable through association with pure devotees, while elevation to that stage by special mercy of Krishna or his devotees very rare. Like in the Shamanand Pandit is this belongs to this category where Srimati Radharani personally awarded him, but mostly one attains that ecstasy in by the association of pure devotee. The purport is that one should execute devotional service rigidly in the association of devotees so that they will be subtly in rising oneself to the ecstatic position. Ecstatic position. So one has to practice bhakti. I'm trying to remind myself like a razor sharp, like Olympics. They follow their regime so strictly. What time to wake up, what to eat, what not to eat. Similar way, bhakti is even more higher. So one should actually practice bhakti with very rigidly. That waking up early in the morning, chanting 16 rounds very attentively, following four regulative principles, eating only prasad, in special cases, of course, there is a special favor from Krishna, and although we should always expect that, we should not sit idly and simply wait for Krishna's special mercy. The regular duties must be performed. It is just as when sometimes it is found that a person who never attended school or college may be recognized as a great scholar, or honorary degree from great university may be offered to him. But this does not mean that one should avoid school and expect to automatically receive an honorable degree from some university. Similarly, one should devoutly execute the regulative principles of devotional service and at the same time hope for Krishna's favor or his devotees' favor. Like this case, Shamanand Pandit. So, what was the qualification of Shamanand Pandit? He followed his spiritual master's instructions seriously, which is brooming of Seva Kunj. And when he did that, he got to actually associate with Srimati Radharani and he attained the mercy of Krishna and Srimati Radharani. But he did that. He actually followed the instruction of spiritual master. An example of rising of stage of ecstatic love by executing the regulative principles of devotional service is given in the life of Narada. Actually, in another Srimad Bhagavatam, which I'm reading in Sindhi, we actually came to this beautiful verse where Narada Muni, who was actually in his previous life, was a Dasi Putra. He was the son of maid servant. And he was associating with Bhakti Vedantas, who were great sages. And he was listening from them and he was honoring their Mahaprasad. And he actually attained that body, which is described in Vyasadeva and Srimad Bhagavatam. Narada tells there of his previous life and how he developed to the stage of ecstatic love. He was engaged in the service of great devotees and used to hear their talks and songs. Because he had the opportunity to hear these pastimes and songs of Krishna from the mouth of pure devotees, he became very attracted within his heart. Because he had become so eager to hear these topics, he gradually developed within himself an ecstatic love for Krishna. This ecstatic love was prior to the pure love of Krishna, because in the next words, Narada confirms that by gradual process of hearing from the great sages, he developed love of Godhead. In that connection, Narada continues to say in first canto, 5th chapter, 28, first, I passed my days in the association of great sages during the rainy and autumn season. Every morning and evening I heard them while they were singing and chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra, and thus my heart gradually became purified. As soon as I heard them with great attention, the influence of mode of material ignorance and passion disappeared, and I became firmly fixed in devotional service of the Lord. So how does his spiritual life become very intense? How did he retain that Narada Muni's body? Because he associated with these sadhus. He was listening from them and he was honoring their Mahaprasad. And when he continued listening again and again, his taste for hearing increased. And when he started actually hearing more and more and more, the Rajoguna and Tamoguna, the passion and ignorance disappeared. He established himself into mode of goodness. And then he reached to that platform where he was started thinking about Krishna's pastimes. And in his next life, he became Narada Muni. These are practical examples of how one can develop to the stage of ecstatic love simply by the association of pure devotees. It is essential, therefore, that one constantly associate with pure devotees who are engaged in morning and evening in chanting of Hare Krishna Mahamantra. So one may say, okay, physically I don't have an opportunity to associate with pure devotees, so how do I associate? You associate with pure devotees in two ways. One is Vapu and second is Vani. Vapu means physical association. So we may not have physical association. So now one may say, then what? Then Vani. Hearing from pure devotees actually is same as associating with them physically. That's why you should hear more from pure devotees rather than some mundane people whom we have no connection, whom we don't know whether they are pure or not. So one should develop the desire that every day I should hear one class of Srila Prabhupada. That will actually develop attachment towards Srila Prabhupada. And Srila Prabhupada, though he is physically not there on this platform, on this planet, but by associating, hearing from him, we develop attachment. And then we can perceive Srila Prabhupada. And then Srila Prabhupada can award us that. This statement is also confirmed in 3rd canto, 25th chapter, verse 25th of Srimad Bhagavatam, where Lord Kapil says, he actually instructs to his mother Devahuti, my dear mother, when a person is actually in association with pure devotees, the sublime potency of my devotional service can be experienced. In other words, when a pure devotee speaks, his words act upon the hearts of the audience. And what is the secret of hearing and chanting? A professional speaker cannot impress transcendental ecstasy within the heart of the listener. Very important. Not that we hear any Tom, Dick, and Harry whom we don't know. Because that will not give us ecstasy. Because these guys may be professional reciters doing it for money. So please make sure you don't listen to anyone else. However, when a realized soul who is engaged in the service of Lord is speaking, he has the potency to inject spiritual life within the audience. One example is Mrigrari, who was a hunter killing animals. Once he heard just Mahamantra, once he heard even Mara from Narada Muni, he became a great sage. Same way Ratnakar became Valmiki by associating with Narada Muni. One should therefore seek the association of such pure, unalloyed devotees, and by such association and service, a neophyte devotee will certainly develop attachment, love, and devotion for Supreme Personality of Godhead. This is the power of actually associating with pure devotees. Even if we don't have interest in bhakti, we actually have desperate desire to develop bhakti just coming in association of pure devotees. In Padma Puran, there is a story of neophyte devotee who, in order to raise himself to the ecstatic platform, danced all night to invoke the Lord's grace upon her. Sometimes, however, it is found that without undergoing any devotional process, one all of a sudden develops devotion to Lord Krishna. Mirabai is an example. The sudden development of devotional attitude in a person must be understood as a special mercy of Krishna or by his pure devotees, like in case of Mrigrari and Ratnakar. This apparently accident development of ecstatic feeling through the causeless mercy of Krishna can be divided into three groups: simply by speaking, simply by glancing, and simply by good wishes. Let me repeat. This apparent accident development of ecstatic feeling through causeless mercy of Krishna be divided into three groups: simply by speaking, glancing, and by good wishes. In Naradiya Purana, there is a statement about development of ecstatic love simply by speaking. Lord Krishna said to Narada, O best of the Brahmanas, I wish that you may develop unalloyed devotional service to me, which is full of transcendental bliss and all auspiciousness. So when this Dasi Putra associated with these great sages, Bhakti Vedantas, and then after the rainy and autumn season, they left. When they left, he was very much attached to them. So he was always thinking about them. One day his mother actually went to um, milk the cows, and a snake bit her and she immediately died. So this Dasi Putra actually immediately left home in search of Krishna, and then he actually started doing meditation. And in that meditation, one day he actually saw the beautiful form of beautiful form of Krishna within his heart, and that form disappeared. And he was like, I want to see that form again and again. And this is when Krishna came to his Krishna made a noise, Krishna made a voice from the sky. O best of the Brahmana, I wish that you may develop unalloyed devotional service to me, which is full of transcendental bliss and all auspiciousness. And that's how he left his body and he became Narada Muni. In Skanda Purana, there is a statement about developing ecstatic love towards Krishna simply by glancing. It is stated there, when inhabitants of Jungle province saw the personality of Godhead Krishna, they were so stricken with feeling that they could not withdraw their glance from him. So just seeing Krishna, they were just attracted. As far as heartfelt wishes are concerned, there is a statement in Sukha Samhita where Narada tells Vyasadeva, you have a son who is the greatest devotee of personality of Godhead, and I can observe that without any following of regulative principle or devotional service, he is already enriched with many of the symptoms achieved by executing devotional service after many, many births. Who is the son of Vyasadeva? Sukadev Goswami. And Sukadev Goswami, when he came from the womb of his mother, he immediately started rushing towards the forest because he was attached to Krishna. Not that he had to actually develop, he had to practice devotional service like we are doing. As for ecstatic love for Krishna, there is a statement in 7th Canto 4, chapter 36 of Srimad Bhagavatam, in which Narada addresses King Yudhishthir. He says, my dear king, it is very difficult to describe the character of Prahlad. He developed a natural attraction for Krishna. And whatever I can explain about his character will simply be an arrangement of words. His actual character is impossible to describe. So Prahlad Maharaj is a very beautiful example. When he was in his mother's womb, in Kayadu's womb, Narada Muni actually was speaking Srimad Bhagavatam. And he heard from mother's womb. Immediately he got attracted to Krishna. Same way Parikshit Maharaj. This means that Narada himself admitted that the natural development of Prahlad's ecstatic love was by the grace of Lord Krishna. This natural attraction for Krishna on the part of Prahlad was developed simply by the mercy of Narada Muni. When Prahlad Maharaj was within the womb of his mother, she was being sympathetically instructed by Narada about the science of devotional service. And at the same time, Narada was wishing that the child within the womb could also take the advantage of this instruction. Because Narada, an authorized devotee and great associate of personality of Godhead, was desiring auspiciousness for Prahlad Maharaj, and he developed all the characteristics of high-grade devotee. This is called natural attraction. It is caused by the special grace of personality of Godhead or by special grace of great devotee like Narada Muni. Very beautifully actually shares. Immediately when he was born at the age of 5, he would preach everyone about Krishna. And he had so much firm faith that Krishna will protect him. His father tried to kill him in so many ways, tried to throw him from the cliff, put him into the ocean, throwing him in the pitch of poisonous snakes, threw him in the fire. But he had firm faith that Krishna is going to protect me. How many of us have firm faith? But he was having a firm faith even at the age of 5. This is statement in Skanda Purana where his Parvata Muni tells Narada, My dear Narada, of all saintly persons, you are so great and glorious that simply by your good wishes, a low born hunter has become a great elevated devotee of Lord Krishna, which I was mentioning about Mrigrari. This ecstatic love of Krishna can be divided into five divisions, which will be described by Srila Rupa Goswami later on. I want to pause here and see any comments or reflections.
Prabhuji, I had a question, Prabhuji, but I got the answer. In the beginning, Prabhuji, Lord Krishna himself mentioned Narada as the greatest of the Brahmanas.
Hmm.
So I was asking why, but no, then you explained everything, Prabhuji. Yeah, that is the answer.
Yeah, this is, bro, reading itself is nectar of devotion, is so nectarine actually. Why he is the best of the Brahmanas? You
Brahmanas.
see, he is the guru for so many great devotees. He's the guru of Dhruva, he's the guru of Prahlad, he's the guru of Vyasa, he is guru of Prahlad, are already covered. And even for Hunter Valmiki, he is also a guru for that. Even for other Hunter we talked about, um, I forgot the name. I was just Mrigrari, right? So many. So he is a guru of them actually, and that's why he is considered to be topmost. Thank you, Prabhu. Any
Thanks,
other comment?
thanks, Prabhu.
No, Prabhu.
This is very beautiful, isn't it? I just relished it actually reading it together.
Yeah.
So let's start chapter 18. We will cover few paragraphs and then we will wind up. Character of one and ecstatic love. So one say, okay, I know how to develop ecstatic love now. That can only happen. Just to summarize the previous chapter, one can develop ecstatic love by Krishna's mercy or pure devotee's mercy, right? And then we gave couple of examples from that, how devotees mercy, Prahlad Maharaj example we talked about. We spoke about Shamanand Pandit, how he attained by Srimati Radharani's mercy. So what is ecstatic love is one constantly thinks about Krishna. So now we are discussing about what happens to such people who are in ecstatic love. So Rupa Goswami next describes the characters of a person who has actually developed his ecstatic love for Krishna. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, though he is Krishna himself, but he came as a devotee and he would show these symptoms. Excuse me. The characteristics are as follows. He is always anxious to utilize his time in devotional service of the Lord, not to waste time, using every minute and every second in devotional service. He does not like to be idle. He wants service always 24 hours a day without deviation. He is always reserved and perseverant. Reserved means people talk about, अरे ये देखा क्या लड़ाई हो रहा है, government हो रहा है, ये change हो रहा है, what? Nothing to do. Silos, he just meditates and focus on Krishna. He does not long for any material respect in return for his activities. He is always certain that Krishna will bestow his mercy upon him. He is always very eager to serve the Lord faithfully. He is very much attached to the chanting of the holy names of Krishna. He is always eager to describe the transcendental qualities of the Lord. He is very pleased to live in a place where Lord's pastimes are performed, for an example, Mathura, Vrindavan, or Dwarka. No? Rupa Goswami is explaining utilization of time. An unalloyed devotee who has developed ecstatic love for Krishna is always engaging his words and reciting prayers to the Lord. Within the mind, he is always thinking of Krishna, and within the body, he either offers obeisances by bowing down before the deity or engages in some other service. During these ecstatic activities, he sometimes sheds tears. In this way, his whole life is engaged in the service of the Lord with not a moment wasted on any other engagement. Wow, very beautiful actually. मैं remind me, but there is a very beautiful class which I was listening, हिंदी में है वो, but talking about how to do time management and priority management. Very fantastic actually class. Perseverance. When a person is undisturbed, even in the presence of various cause of disturbance, he is called reserved and perseverant. An example of perseverance reservation is found in the behavior of King Parikshit. As described in 1st Canto 19, verse 15, the king says there to all the sages present before him at the time of death, my dear Brahmanas, you should always accept me as your surrendered servant. I have come to the bank of Ganges just to devote my heart and soul unto the lotus feet of Lord Krishna. So please bless me that Mother Ganga may also be pleased with me. Let the curse of Brahmana son fall upon me. I do not mind. I only request that at the last moment of my life, all of you will kindly chant the holy name of Vishnu so that I may realize his transcendental qualities. Not that Parikshit Maharaj tried to counteract the curse. He accepted and immediately went to the banks of Ganga to hear Srimad Bhagavatam from Sukadev Goswami in the association of other devotees. This example of Maharaj Parikshit behavior, his remaining patient even at the last point of life, his undisturbed condition of mind is an example of reservation. This is one of the characteristics of devotee who has developed ecstatic love for Krishna. Detachment. The senses are always desiring sense enjoyment, but when a devotee develops transcendental love for Krishna, his senses are no longer attracted for material by material desires. This state of mind is called detachment. There is a nice example of the detachment in the connection with the character of King Bharat. In the fifth canto, 14th chapter, verse 43 of Srimad Bhagavatam, Emperor Bharat was so attracted by the beauty of the lotus feet of Krishna that even in his youthful life he gave up all kind of attachment to family, children, friends, kingdom, as though they were untouchable stools. So sometimes being a stupid person is easier actually because then nobody will bother us. And this is how Bharat Maharaj, Jad Bharat would behave, and people will think he is any of fool. There is no point in talking to him. Emperor Bharat provides a typical example of detachment. He had everything enjoyable in the material world, but he left it. This means that detachment does not mean artificially keeping oneself aloof and apart from allurement of attachment. Even in the presence of such allurement, if one can remain unattracted by the material attachment, he is called detached. In the beginning, of course, a neophyte devotee must try to keep himself apart from all kinds of alluring attachment. But the real position of mature devotee is that even in the presence of all allurement, he is not at all attracted. This is the actual criterion of detachment. Pridelessness, last section. When a devotee, in spite of possessing all the qualities of pure realization, is not proud of his position, he is called prideless. In the Padma Purana, it is stated that King Bhagiratha was the emperor above all other kings, yet he developed such ecstatic love for Krishna that he became a mendicant and went out begging even to the homes of political enemies and untouchables. Bhagiratha Muni is the one who brought Ganga from spiritual world to the material world. So he became a mendicant and he would beg even from his enemies. Because he, of course, he was a king, then of course there would be enemies. He was so humble that he respectfully bowed down before them. There are many similar instances in the history of India. Even very recently, about 200 years ago, lost one big landlord known as Lala Babu. I was just thinking about him. I'll tell the story. A Calcutta landholder became a Vaishnava and lived in Vrindavan. So he was a very rich person and he left everything and he became a beggar. And you know what he would do? He would beg outside the temples and especially to his competitors, those who were competitors with him in business. And they would see him, wow, he became a beggar. So he was also begging from door to door, even at the homes of political enemies. Begging involves being ready to be insulted by persons to whom one has come. What do people do to beggar? Get lost. Especially enemies, they will even be ridiculed. That is natural. But one has to tolerate such insults of sake for Krishna. The devotee of Krishna can accept any position in the service of Krishna. So I want to end here. Any can we summarize what all points we discussed today? Whatever you can recollect.
Different types of love, Prabhuji.
Hmm.
That's a that's the main one we covered today.
Correct. We started with spontaneous love. We finished that spontaneous love, and then spontaneous love. We talked about how we experience by ecstasy and how one experience ecstasy by coming in association of pure devotees, by listening from him, by associating with them. And we saw so many examples through whom we see the devotees developed ecstasy. We gave an example about Prahlad Maharaj. We gave an example about Mrigrari. We gave an example about Dhruva. We spoke about so many examples who attained that. And then we also spoke about, if we don't have a physical association of pure devotees, then what should we do?
Just read from the Srila Prabhupada, like the good, uh, I mean, the proper way of learning should be the pure devotees, listening the classes or
Ah,
the scriptures and
very
everything.
nice. Very nice. Thank you. And then in this chapter in 18, we started about what are the symptoms who developed ecstasy. They don't have a pride, and then they are not um jealous of anyone, and they are actually detached. They are not connected to anything from that perspective, and they persevere whatever happens. They persevere from that perspective, and how they utilize the time, which is what we actually covered today.
Yeah, also the 9 points, Prabhuji, the above one, uh, which has the details, right, Prabhuji? The top
The
one.
Navaveda
Yeah,
Bhakti are saying.
Navaveda. Yeah,
Yeah,
Prabhuji.
yeah, correct, correct. So we spoke about any of those activity, whether someone likes hearing, someone likes chanting, someone wants to worship the Lord, or someone likes to read. All these can be, anyone who has attachment to any of that can actually attain perfection. Wonderful. Thank you again for, very, very grateful. I was just exhausted today. I don't know if I was
Yeah,
able
Prabhuji.
to, I will be able to speak with the Ekadashi. Evenings are really tough. So I'm like, wow. So I'm very grateful. On wonderful day of Ekadashi, we read so many beautiful lines, beautiful paragraphs of pure bhakti. So thank you so much again, Shila Prabhupada ki
Jai.
jai.
Hare
Hare
We'll
Krishna.
Krishna.
continue next week. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna. Ending.